Hey, Catalyst crew. Catalyst Corner number 5. It's Thursday, so we have Jim F0123 Art on here with us. And yeah, let's get into it. How's it going, Jim?
Doing okay. How you been?
Another week.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, getting through it.
Yep.
So, wanted to start this one with a little bit of a tragedy.
The tragic events.
Yes. So, we did a recording session last week, touched upon some very poignant things. And as I was editing the episode to try to get everything ready for release, the software that I use decided to say to me, hey, there's a small error that just occurred. Save your work, restart. Everything's working fine, okay? So I ignore the first error. I say, okay, I'll do that. And I go about my business, editing. Pops up again. Now I'm just annoyed, right?
Sure.
So I save like a good soldier, and I restart. And I open it back up, and the intro is intact, and the last 10 minutes is intact. Everything else is gone. All of my recoveries are damaged. There's no turning back. Furious. Furious.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, my heart aches and weeps for that episode. That's the lost tapes.
That is.
So,
maybe recovered someday, somehow.
Maybe. I'm too impatient for it. So that was very, very disappointing.
Yes.
But as soon as I accepted it, it hurt a little less.
Come to terms with it.
Oh, brutal. So have you seen any films?
Yes. So I was watching The History of Horror by Eli Roth.
Very good program.
Very good program. And so he likes to talk about old horror movies up into current day horror movies, running the gamut, and came across a horror movie that is quite a few years old now called Let the Right One In.
Oh, very good.
Very good movie.
Now, did you watch the original or the American remake?
So I watched the original Swedish version with the subtitles.
Yes.
So you have to read the movie as opposed to being able to listen to it. So you're watching and reading. So it's like a book on your TV, but...
Well, it just means that you have to watch it actively as opposed to passively, right?
Yes.
Like you can't just put it on in the background and kind of tune in and out.
Right. And, what I like about that, and especially with this case, is that the movie, because I think it's more of a slow burn type of movie, but it's gripping. So you are really focused on the movie, so you can actually follow it and read along and not get lost because it's not fast-moving action. So it lends to being able to read what's on the screen without missing any of what's going on with the motion.
Right. It is a very dialogue-centric film.
Yes.
Do you think it's an effective vampire movie?
I do. I do. I do think that so it's a young girl, let's say, although not a young girl, but she purports to be 12 years old, even though we know she is ancient. But for all intents and purposes, she comes off as a 12-year-old girl. And what I like about it is I think that although she does her vampire thing out of necessity because she has to, I think that there is a sense that she has, I won't say a moral compass, but what she has, I think, is she has some feelings for the people that she's using because she knows what she's doing. She's not a monster. She's not mindless. She does what she does out of a need, but I think she also kind of feels for the people that she's making do things, but she knows ultimately I'm using you up, and I'll move on to the next when I've used you up. But I do think you're an okay person, so I'll allow you to survive as opposed to killing you just to feed.
Right. So that's kind of where it works for me as well. It's just that I think it's an effective vampire film because there is that sense that even though she does have an emotional attachment to, say, Oscar, it's still a predator,
Yeah,
keeping basically a pet cat.
right. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's a pet. That's how she looks at whomever it is that she needs to assist her. It's not that she has a true romantic interest or, genuinely likes the person and wants to be necessarily friends. It's that you're a good pet and I'm going to keep you around as long as I can. And then when you die, I'm going to get myself a new pet to replace you.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
So let me throw a couple of recommendations your way
sure.
if you like the old vampire stuff.
Okay.
So there's an Iranian. It's either Iranian or Persian. Don't get mad at me because I can't pull it out. But it's called A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. It is in black and white. Fantastic vampire
I
film.
will have to check that out.
Fantastic. And the other one that I would recommend even more is Shadow of the Vampire. So that is, I want to say it came out maybe in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And you have Eddie Izzard
All right. Eddie Izzard. Okay.
and Willem Dafoe
Oh, well, there you go.
as playing Max Shrek or Shrek, whoever played the dude who plays Nosferatu. And so the guys is basically they're filming Nosferatu, and the vampire's real.
Oh,
So
okay.
they found Eddie Izzard's the director. I don't know how he found him, but he did, and they're making the movie. It is strange, fantastic horror. It's Willem Dafoe as
Yeah.
as,
Well,
as a vampire.
again, Willem, you had me sold at Willem Dafoe as anything. So,
He is just the creepiest. John Malkovich is in it as well.
okay. So Malkovich and Willem Dafoe.
You know what it is? I had it backwards. It's Eddie Izzard is in it, I believe. He may not even be in it. I'm giving him credit for nothing.
Oh, okay.
It's Willem Dafoe is Max Shrek. I looked it up. Catherine McCormick is Greta Schroeder. John Malkovich is Frederick Will. So it's John. Oh no, Eddie Izzard isn't it? He plays Gustav. So he plays the male lead,
Okay.
and Malkovich is the director. So you got Malkovich, you got Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe running around. Eddie Izzard shows up for a bit. It's
It sounds insane.
oh, absolutely. And I will give a shout out to History of Horror because I love just the way that they structure it too.
Yeah.
Right? They do episodes on zombies. They do episodes on vampires. They
Yeah.
do episodes on like bumps in the night or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the fact that, they cover the gamut and it shows you movies that you may not even know existed. And so that, you watch it and you can say, oh, that looks really great. I want to check that movie out. I've watched many a new horror, or not new, but new to me, horror movies that came directly from watching that show, which I highly recommend.
Same. And it's also introduced me to some classics that I didn't know about. And what's interesting to watch some of the older films is to see how kind of some of that influence bleeds through to the modern day.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Invitation?
No, I have not.
Very good. Slow burn. It's
Okay.
not supernatural or anything. It's more like I'd give it a watch. I don't want.
Who's in that?
That's got. Did you ever see that movie Upgrade?
Sounds familiar, but
Let me see if I can pull the guy's name because it's I don't know that he's super famous. Logan Marshall. He plays the main male lead.
Okay.
You have Michael Huseman,
yeah.
and then John Carroll Lynch is in it. American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in a bunch of stuff. It's very good.
Okay.
It's very, very good. It's just a very slow burn, and then the payoff is kind of you kind of just sit there and go, "Geez."
Okay. Sounds like something I definitely want to check into.
So I've gotten up to episode 3 in the Obi Wan Kenobi
Okay.
series.
All right. So what do you think so far?
I have mixed feelings.
Okay.
None of it has been bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people teetering on bad, but
The thing is that there's always going to be a portion of the fans that don't like anything.
sure. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So none of it is bad. It feels a little unnecessary. I
Yeah.
don't know that we needed it. And what Bob, my biggest note, my biggest pain point is that I don't understand why none of the original music is in the show.
Yeah, that's odd because again, you own it, you own the rights to it, so it's not like it is removed because you can't use it for trademark or
Well,
copyright.
who's doing the score? Is it the guy who did
John
Mando?
Williams.
John Williams is
John
doing the score?
Williams.
I wonder if that's a hindrance.
Possibly.
Maybe he just doesn't want to repeat. But
Could be.
the problem, this is where it hurts, and this is spoilers for Kenobi if you haven't seen it. Vader does show up,
Yes.
and they do have a face-to-face.
So I saw it.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
I did. After we discussed it the last time, which I
Yeah.
hadn't, I went and checked out the scene that you were referring to.
Okay. So give me your notes on it then.
So so here's the thing. Here's kind of what
It was cool when he was walking like towards him and like
Yeah.
he killed that guy by
Right.
breaking his neck. That was rad.
Yeah. Yeah. So the general consensus and I think I'm of like mind on this is that the reason why he beat him like he did but not kill him is because he wasn't a challenge.
Right. He wants to fight the Obi-Wan that
Right.
cut his arms and legs
Right.
off.
This wasn't the Obi-Wan that did that. That wasn't that almost, when they obviously Obi-Wan thought he had killed Anakin at that time, and that was a fight that was basically life or death. And in
Right.
this fight,
Right.
it wasn't. And I think that Vader realized this guy can't match me anymore, and this isn't fair anymore, so it's not worth my time.
Well, he's just killing a man at that point.
Right.
Not the person that mangled him.
Right, exactly. And he would not have satisfaction in doing it at that given time.
Right. That was how I read it as well.
Yeah.
Plus, you get a cool scene where he's staring into the fire. So
Yeah.
the only thing I actively didn't like, is, and you know what, the Inquisitor getting murdered, not that big of a deal to me.
Well, I mean, we have to figure out what that's about because clearly he comes back in Rebels, and
Right.
and so he didn't get killed, or did he? And
I
they're gonna
imagine
come
he
with
didn't.
something. Yeah,
You
I
know
would
what's gonna
imagine
happen
that.
is
So.
that'll be her reveal at some point, is that he's still around. Like maybe she does something good and she's supposed to get hers or whatever, and then he pops back up and he's like, "Surprise, motherfucker!"
Yeah, yeah, probably because again they have to account for the fact that he was in Rebels for many years. So
So I actively dislike that there's not, because to me, when they meet face to face, this is the first time since he turned him into a amputee. You're not going to give me any form of the theme from the end of Revenge of the Sith.
yeah,
You're not going to give me any form of Vader's theme at this point.
and the music is so important to
And
the
you can't
story.
you can't even make the argument that like, oh, they're gonna, it's gonna come at the end. No, they used it at the end of Episode 3. It exists canon already.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I have an emotional tie to that music. So when you deny me that, the impact of them fighting is lessened.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest gripe. My other gripe is that I don't understand how he became a Scooby-Doo villain, Darth Vader, and somehow got around Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I say that because it is very clearly stated that Vader is a tank.
Right.
He's a slow-moving, unstoppable tank.
Right. Well, I mean, he's got robotic limbs, so
Right, but it's all weighted down,
right.
too.
We can't think that he would be moving at lightning pace. He would be slow and plodding.
That's Scooby-Doo logic.
Right.
He was very much behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, nah.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It looks cool to be able to have that shot, but my first thought was like, how did he get there?
Yeah, and I think that the problem is that they're throwing logic out the window to give you cool moments. And
And fan service is good,
yeah,
but you
to
know,
a degree.
keep the story going.
Yeah, but not the problem is with Star Wars in particular, you can't give the fans are so overly critical that when you do illogical things, it comes back in backlash and hatred so much greater than any other movie that you're gonna have, because the Star Wars fan base, I mean, everybody says how toxic they are.
One of the most toxic.
Right.
It's got. I would say that the mouse has cultivated a community of toxicity.
Yes, I totally agree with
And
that.
here's the thing: you and I go back and forth about all this shit we don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say this right now: there are a lot of characters from Star Wars that are brand new. Cal Kestis, awesome.
Oh yeah,
Ahsoka Tano, awesome.
yeah.
There
Cad
are
Bane,
awesome.
You can
There
go down
are
a
very few characters that have come out that I dislike. Even if you want to go new trilogy, I thought that Finn was awesome until they ruined him. I thought that Poe was great.
Kylo was a fantastic villain.
What an
Could
amazing.
have been the next Darth Vader.
So good.
For its own 6-9 movies.
And here's the thing. Rey in and of herself was not, I wouldn't say she was awesome, but she was someone that I was willing to get behind.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't like was you undermining Skywalker and everything they've done, and then burying Anakin's lightsaber on the planet that amounted to the greatest suffering in his life. It's where Vader was literally born, because it's where he massacred the Sand People.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to bury his saber on Tatooine. You know where you put it? This isn't even a tough one. You fly to Naboo and you lay it next to Padme's grave.
Yeah.
How do you miss? How?
Well,
How do you miss that?
Well, it's the same miss where Leia hugs Rey as opposed to Chewie after Han's death.
Oh.
You is always misfires. That's the part of the sequel trilogy is it's a comedy of errors. There's so many misses.
Right, but like, can you imagine being in the room, like they're in the storyboarding room, right? And Abrams is in there, and he's like, yeah, we're going to end it like this, and the Emperor's back, and that'll make everybody like it again. All right, cool. And Rey's going to kill him, and Kylo, they're going to kiss. Wait, did they love each other? Yeah, secretly they did.
Mm.
And then she's going to bury Anakin's saber on Tatooine. And everyone in that room goes, yeah, that's a great fitting end to Anakin's lightsaber. Yeah, put it on Tatooine.
Yeah. Well, and then the other part of that is, you have Kathleen Kennedy saying, okay, what we want to do is end the Skywalker saga. Well, I got an idea. At the very end, we're going to call Rey Skywalker.
Right.
Well, that sounds great. So the way to end the Skywalker saga is to end it by calling her Skywalker.
Wait, so are we getting more Skywalker then? Because listen,
Who knows?
I'm not opposed to her being like, look, if you want to say she's a Skywalker, not a Palpatine now, I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with that.
See, I do.
Why?
Well, because it's one of those things where he's the emperor, right? He is the face of evil, right? So by defeating him and then being the face of good with the Palpatine name.
Well, it's not though. She took the Skywalker name.
Right, but she could have kept the Palpatine name and erased the evil history of her family lineage. Why do you need to glom on the family lineage that already has greatness behind it? You could have turned your evil family name into greatness by showing that I've defeated the evil of my family, and now it's, I'm the greatest hero, but yes, I'm a Palpatine. Because we already have the greatest hero in the Skywalkers.
See, the way I look at it is like this, is that I am more than my surname.
Sure.
And so, instead of, shame on Sheev, call him by his name.
Mm-hmm.
Shame on Sheev. I'm going to erase his entire legacy.
Sure, you could
will
look at it
never,
like
people
that.
will never utter Palpatine again, and I will continue to praise Skywalker.
Yeah.
So again, I know Kathleen doesn't really like Luke and Anakin and all of our heroes, but if that was her intention, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I would prefer that Skywalker's name continues on.
Oh, as would I. But I just think that when I'm just saying that you have a last name that already had meaning behind it.
Yeah, but
you didn't
I
need
mean,
to
nobody
glom
is,
onto
listen,
someone else's.
You can't. Nobody's looking at Palpatine like in the universe. People are like, geez, Palpatine, huh? Remember that motherfucker? Nobody's going like, look, I like it. I'm more than my surname. I'm putting your legacy in the ground. No one will ever utter Palpatine again. I am now a Skywalker. All of that is awesome. Except you bury Anakin's lightsaber in fucking Tatooine. No.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
You can't praise and shit on the Skywalker name at the same time.
Right. And
like, dude, he should have popped up as a Force ghost and just been like, Ray, what the fuck? What do you do? Don't fucking do. Fly your ass to Naboo and go lay it next to my fucking wife, you jerk.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is that you had Luke and Leia cheering it on, like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, man, maybe.
Well, they didn't really know their dads.
Well, yeah, but they do. I mean, they end up knowing the story. You know what I mean? I'm sure that they eventually got the whole story of what went on.
Apparently not. If they're cheering her on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, hey, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Just throw it in the dirt there, next to his greatest sorrows.
I got to tell you, I got a little emotional during the Obi Wan show. Though one thing hit, and it didn't have the music, so it didn't get me all the way. Is when Obi is, or Ben, we'll call him Ben.
Yeah, codename Ben.
Yeah, when he's spying on Luke,
mm-hmm.
and he's sitting on top of the house.
Yep.
Pretending to be a star pilot, and it just gives you the flashback of Anakin.
It does.
Oh,
it does. They did a great job.
Oh, it gave me the chills.
Yeah, that's a moment. See, there again, right? That's a moment that they're giving you for fan service that actually hits home.
You know what other moment hits home? When he finds out that Anakin's alive.
Yeah.
As soon as they make the Force connection again, and he opens his eyes,
mm-hmm.
and you see him in the tank. Oh, so good. No music.
Yeah.
What? How? That to me is such a misfire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Like, you don't even have to re-record it. Just grab the music. It's already been recorded.
Right. But this is if nothing else comes from these Disney Plus shows, I think that you're getting moments that you've been longing to see. So, Kenobi and Vader, reconnecting for the first time.
Young, too.
Yeah. Ahsoka meeting Luke for the first time. Those are moments that you dreamed about that you're now getting to actually see. And that makes these moments on these shows so great. I just don't know that the shows overall are required.
Well, I would agree. The thing is that the Clone Wars really fleshes out Kenobi and Anakin, and we get an awesome character. So I want to see the Ahsoka show. Because I don't think there's enough of her.
Right.
I would love, now I know there's a rumor that maybe Cal Kestis shows up at the end of Obi.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a show with Cal Kestis because I love him as a character.
And I think that that's one of those characters that isn't as well known to majority of fans because he's a video game character.
Right, but the dude that plays him is an actor.
Yeah.
He played Joker in Gotham.
Right. I just think that he's one of those.
Not that that's like I'm not using that as like you should be proud of that.
No, I'm just saying like that's one of those characters that there's so much story to tell to the majority of fans because the majority of fans probably don't know who this character is. And there's so much story that you can tell. And even if you tell the stories from the video games, a lot of people are not going to know them. So I think that's a character that going forward you really want to tell that story of.
Yeah, but you don't have to tell the video game story.
No.
You've
I'm
created
just
the
saying.
character.
I'm just saying that if you did, most people wouldn't say like, "Oh, I've already seen that on the video game." Most people have not seen the story on the video game.
Yeah, but you know what I've noticed is they do with video game. Anytime they try to adapt anything with video games, right? For some reason, they try to tell a different story than the story that made the game
Right.
popular. And
Yeah.
and that always confused me because in my mind, I'm thinking you're not making this movie for me because I played the game already. But the game story is what sucked me in. So why wouldn't you just do that in another medium?
Yeah, I don't know why movies do that in general. I don't know why that they feel the need to make major changes to the story that is so loved that you created a movie out of the story. The reason you're making the movie is because of how popular the whether it's the video game, whether it's a comic book, whatever it might be, it's so popular that you're making a movie out of it, and then you go ahead and make these changes that makes it so different than what the people loved. And your thought is, well, we have to make it different. Well, why? Why do you have to make it different? I have to give them something new because they already know that story. Right. They do, but they have to imagine it in their own head, or they have to imagine it on panels or in a video game form. This is now live action that they're seeing it, which is a completely different medium. And yeah, you're going to have to elongate it to fit the confines and construct of a movie. So you are going to add new elements, but overall, the structure of the movie should remain the same. And they change it so that when the thing ends, the people that loved it coming in hate it going out.
Although I did like the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
I have not seen them.
They're good.
So,
They're fun.
Yeah.
They're fun. You know what it is? They're not changing the world,
No.
but they're fun movies.
Yeah.
Would they be as fun if he looked like he did when they originally announced it? No,
No.
because you'd be too distracted at the psychotic eldritch creature that the art department came up with.
Yeah. Well, did you see the first original trailers that they released for the upcoming She-Hulk Disney Plus show?
With the awful CGI?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's kind of on the same vein, right? I mean, they released it and everybody was horrified, and they had to go back in and make all those changes to correct it. And it's like, yeah, that's not you got a completely different reaction than what you wanted. Instead of people saying, "Hey, that looks really great," they said, "That's the worst CGI I've ever seen. This looks horrific."
The problem I think you run into with CGI, because at this point, any major production should not have any issue with CGI.
No.
The technology that is available to everyone. In my basement, I can make something more comparable to that.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of them are major corporations, and instead of saying, okay, how can we innovate, they're using old technology, and then you get these awful renditions of She-Hulk. Right? So even if they go back, because it happened with that game Halo Infinite,
Mm-hmm.
they were using older tech. The game looked like shit. People made fun of it. They put it on ice for a while. They revamped the whole game. It still didn't look amazing, but it looked better.
Yeah.
Now, how does she look now?
Better.
A bit better?
Yeah. I mean,
There's only so much you're going to be able to do.
right. I mean, it's still a TV show, so money-wise, it's a more limited budget, but it's more bearable now than it was. But the problem is we shouldn't be seeing, like with Sonic, with She-Hulk, with we shouldn't be seeing, like, look at Luke at the end of The Mandalorian, right? And then all of a sudden they hit, like you said, what do they hire the kid from his basement to do the Book of Boba Fett? And, it's a million times better CGI.
Right, but that's just because you have someone who's not part of a studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gets to do independent research, find the best tools that are available, whether they're none of them are going to be insanely expensive, right? Because
Right.
it's an individual buying them.
Mm-hmm.
Learns how to use them, and then he puts out the original one, which looks 100 times better. And then, of course, you hire him. And
Right.
then what does he do? He brings his skill set and the technology to Disney.
Right. But we shouldn't be seeing these things that the fans reject wholesale, and then these major companies have got to go in and make these changes. They should already have that right from the get-go.
If they were smart, they would just scour the streaming platforms. I'm not talking Netflix. I'm saying like YouTube and things like that. And just find the stuff that is blowing up, reach out to the creators, bring them on, and then have them start to work on it. Because honestly, you can, on the dark side of it, little Star Wars
there
joke
you go.
for you, you can hire them for less money because they're not in the industry,
Right.
And you're going to get fresh ideas,
Yeah.
fresh technology, fresh faces, and ultimately it'll be better because it's the thing that people are gravitating to.
Right. But, you look at it, right, and say that the kid who is in his basement doing it, right? So you can get a professional. I'm throwing out numbers. I have no idea. But let's say a professional is $20 million and you give this kid $3. You're saving a boatload of money. This kid just made $3 million. He
Right.
probably doesn't
You've
have
changed his life.
Yeah, absolutely. He's in a,
And now Luke looks like Luke again.
Right. So it's like, yeah, you can say you're changing this person's life, but you're saving yourselves a boatload of money. Who loses in that scenario?
I agree. I think it's very interesting. I'm hoping, I like when they do that sort of stuff because as soon as corporations that are that kind of rooted in their ways start thinking outside of the box, we as consumers win.
Yes.
And they don't make any less money. That's the thing. Is
Right.
It's not them it's not me sitting here going, "Oh, eat the rich, corporations should make less money." No, it's when if you think outside of the box, you can save yourself money, which makes you more money.
Right.
And as a result, we all get something better.
Yeah.
Which makes everybody happy.
Yes. And I think that, well, I mean, depending on what you want to do, right? I mean, but I would rather, it's a catch-22, right? Would you rather, as actors and actresses age, replace them or CGI them younger to keep the actors and actresses that we already know and love?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I would rather CGI them, and I want the new generation of actors to play new characters. I am not a person that this goes back to the Obi Wan thing. I don't need any more Obi Wan Kenobi. If you want to use him as a side character going forward, I'm good with that.
Sure.
But make me new characters that I can care about. Keep me interested in it. Keep it fresh for me. Showing me Luke and Anakin and Obi-Wan over and over and over again, I don't need that. Ahsoka I'm down for because we haven't really had much of her live action.
Right.
And I'm curious to see what kind of comes out of that because we can probably get, Thrawn's going to be the villain, right?
Right.
And I'm sure we'll get some cool characters to come out of that, but there'll be new characters. That's what I want in this universe. And, I guess that maybe aligns with Kathleen Kennedy a little bit.
I mean, I'm not, that's the thing with Kathleen Kennedy. I'm not in disagreement with her to move the needle forward and create new characters. Just don't shit on the ones that we love. The reason why you have a job is because of the characters that have been created. Don't shit on what we love. Don't shit on what we've grown up with and that we cherish so dearly.
Right. It's not edgy to be like, oh, yeah, actually, Luke was a coward the whole time. It's like, but why?
Right.
Why? Don't do that to Luke.
No. But if you want to end if you wanted to end the Skywalker Saga and do it on a high note and then say that's it, now it's all about new characters going forward, I'm cool with that. But why do you have to try to burn it to the ground of what was there and then just say, yeah, that wasn't really popular or successful or as good as people think. Wait till you see what I've got because I think mine would be better. And that's what bothers me so badly about her. It's like, oh, no, I can do better. Well, you tried to do better with the sequel trilogy and you failed miserably.
Yeah, it's just, you know what it is it's any form of extremism is bad.
Yes.
So, I think I have some hope, maybe a new hope,
Possibly.
that Star Wars is going to keep getting better. I'm excited for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I want to see where that's going to go. Whether we get anything crazy out of Obi-Wan, the only thing I could really hope for at this point is maybe Cal Kestis comes into the mix.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen and they just do a little bit more Vader or they tease Maul or something, that's all fine. But it's not going to be anything that gets me super amped up because it's almost like Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But you already know the end game.
Oh.
So it's not leading to anything that you don't already know.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. We already know the outcome of where Vader and Obi-Wan end. We already know it.
Right.
So what you're doing, you're filling in some cracks.
And they're cool. Listen, it's cool. It's cool to see him struggle
cool.
with his disconnect to the Force. There's a lot of good stuff in it. I'm not saying I don't like Obi.
Right.
Don't read it that way. I don't like that there's no music. But aside from that, I'm very curious to see what we can do with new characters. Like Benicio del Toro, how pumped were you for Last Jedi when they announced him and he had 5 fucking minutes of screen time? He was a nothing character.
Pumped at the thought he was going to be the live action Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
When because the thing of it is, it aged correctly. His age, Benicio del Toro's age, to what Ezra Bridger's age would be matched. So it was like, oh, that's a perfect fit. Like he would be that age. So you've got a tremendous actor playing somebody that we would want to see in live action. This is going to be awesome.
And then he was just
then it was like a nobody character, 5 minutes, and it's like, what was the point of that?
The whole thing is weird. It's very incoherent.
Yeah.
Right? Because we do episode, 7, which is just like, it's all right. It's a New Hope 2.0. No worries. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fine.
It's good.
It introduced us to Kylo. Snoke was relatively interesting. I was like, okay, Emperor-esque character, no problem. Yep. And then Last Jedi happened, right? And you know what? Even Kylo killing Snoke at the end of that, I was fucking in for. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't see that
That was
coming.
a twist that
Very
you weren't
cool.
expecting.
But then to finish it, right? This is the problem. Even if it's bad, you committed to it doesn't matter who your parents are.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are. The Force is with us all.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very next episode, you go back on everything that Jedi built.
Right.
I'm not saying Jedi's good. It's trash. But the fact that they couldn't have follow through makes it even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so disjointed, and it just
doesn't
go.
If episode 9 continued along that line,
yeah,
Rey doesn't have any lineage.
Which I would have preferred, to be perfectly honest.
So would I, but instead you get this line. Oh, you thought I was serious? You thought I was serious when I told you your parents were nothing?
Yeah. See, going back to what we talked about a few minutes ago, if Rey's parents were nobodies who abandoned her, and at the end she adopted the Skywalker name because that's how important of a character
good.
That would have mattered to me.
So good.
But to change,
you need a way to explain because you need a way to explain how the Emperor shows up because it doesn't make any sense. It's just like, hey, remember that dude we killed like 30 years ago?
Yeah, he's
actually just hanging out.
Yeah, he's
fine.
He's been hanging out plotting.
Got like some weird fucking fingers and shit, but he's gonna suck your soul a little bit. You'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah. He just decided after 30 years, I'm gonna try this again.
Do it. Oh, it's very strange.
Yeah.
What's going on in the comic book world? Or DC? Let's just go DC.
Yeah. So we got the confirmation of Joker 2.
Oh, no.
So officially, Joaquin Phoenix is going to be reprising the role. Todd Phillips is going to be the director. We got everything coming back from the original one. And
what a shame.
Yeah, my question is why? Why do we need this, A? And B, what are we going to get out of it?
Money.
Of course. But
What
it
are we
will.
going to get out of
Well,
it?
I mean, that's what they're going to get out of it is money. But what are we as fans going to get out of this movie? Because the first one I think was cinema genius, but it was I think a fully fleshed out story. I don't think there's anything left to tell unless
Unless what? There's no story to tell.
Well, the only thing I can say is unless you are urban legend that leads us to the real Joker of the DCEU, and that he takes what he's heard and incorporates that, and we get, whether it's Jared Leto or you replace him with someone else, that Joker is because he heard the stories of this Joker, who's not really the Joker, because this was a guy who was insane in his own mind telling this story. And maybe in an insane asylum, he told a story to someone who told the story to someone. And again, it was urban legend until it got to the ears of somebody that actually decided to become this maniac. And now he's out there actually performing, all of these crimes and all of these murders and just the Joker that we know.
Well, let me spin it to you this way. So, film ends.
Mm-hmm.
He's running away after he killed the therapist,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we do a time jump.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we do like 5 years, something
Okay.
like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Just about, well, I mean, how old was Bruce Wayne?
He was about 10, maybe.
All right,
I'd
so
say.
maybe you do like an 8-year time jump, just enough to make him young Batman,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Joker's been in the insane asylum the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
The insane asylum.
Yep.
I'd like to enunciate. Bruce grows up, becomes an adult. Batman, jumps onto the scene. Joker's hanging out, being relatively normal, but he's been festering, right? Maybe he's not as thin anymore because he's in the state, so they're feeding him and shit, and he can just be a normal, not scrawny dude. 'Cause
Yeah.
Joaquin's not.
No.
So he sees the TV screen. He sees Bruce as a young man has come back to Gotham. Sets him off. He's out. The movement already exists. People have already went nuts about it, right? Word on the street is Joker's in town. And now he's had a lot of time to kind of sit there and cook and become the Joker that we actually are supposed to have. I could go for that.
Sure.
But you're changing the entire, it goes from being kind of this grounded story about mental illness to, okay, it is actually the Joker. And that I would be all right with. I think that would still be a very fine way to go.
Yeah. But here I guess is my issue, not with that movie, but in general, right? So we have a new head of Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, right?
He's the Discovery guy?
Correct.
Yeah.
So his edict is he wants DC to be like Marvel, where everything is interconnected and every story leads to the next story. Again, he wants to mimic the Marvel universe. So here,
then you do a 12 or 13-year jump, and it's Pattinson.
yeah, but here's my problem. You already have a Joker in Pattinson's world.
Oh, right, I forgot.
So, and we already know they announced that to be Earth 2, right? So now we have another Earth.
Well, what are we at Earth 3 then with this Joker, right?
Sure. We'll say Earth 3, right? So now you've got 3 Earths that you... So...
Yeah, we'll tell the Batman Who Laughs story then.
Well, my point is, though, that if you're coming in and your edict is to make everything interconnected like Marvel, how are you doing that with 3 different universes? Because, again, you
Well, they
can't.
look, DC seems to be under what they'll do is they bide their time, they see what Marvel does, they see what works, and then they just copy it. It happened with Justice League. They jumped the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of releasing an Aquaman and a Flash movie, they did Superman 2, or BVS,
Mm-hmm.
Justice League. Not Superman 2, Aquaman, Flash, Justice League. No. So you have no time to get attached to the characters, etc., etc. What they're doing now is, okay, now we have 3 different Earths. Oh yeah, this multiverse shit seems to be working out really well. Let's jump on board with that. And then you're
Yeah.
going to get a multiverse without earning a multiverse.
Right, but here's the okay. So here's
Well,
the
I
other
mean,
problem.
unless Ezra Miller would stop slapping
Yeah,
people around.
well, there's that. But here's the other thing, right? The Flash movie has Michael Keaton. It's another universe.
yeah, baby, Earth 4.
So it's just like how many
Dude, I'm down. If they listen, if you want to rope it in and say, "Oh man, Flash just opened up the gateway and it's connected just in the fact that the multiverse exists. Look, there's so many different Earths and they're all connected and something could happen that could bring them all into the future. Keep watching." I'm good with that because then you get to tell your stories. I've said that.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to find a way. If you want to do that, see, I'm cool with the fact that if you want to tell your own stories in your own Earth, but if you're going to interconnect it, you have to find a way to interconnect it as well.
Yeah, it's not hard though.
Right, but that's going to be what they need to do. They're going to need to find a way to get that at any given time, somebody from Earth 1 can be on Earth 4 and Earth 2 on Earth 3. You have to be open to the possibility that at every movie, somebody is going to pop up from one of those other Earths to make sure you realize this is all connected. Although they're different universes, it's all one universe.
So has Aquaman, I think you told me before, Aquaman got pushed back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I imagine at this point there probably is not going to be any Mira.
I would say that it'll probably scrap her completely.
That's fine. I'd like to see them just not show her in this episode, this movie, and then when Aquaman 3 comes out, just do what they did with Rhodey.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
That'll be okay. And you know what? I bet it'll make the character way better.
Well, see, I think in this movie they're introducing Dolphin. So you're going to have a strong female lead character that's going to play off Aquaman in this movie already. So even if you cut Mera out, you're still going to have that dynamic. So you might as well just say, yeah, she's off doing something, and then come Aquaman 3, she's back, but it's going to be a just totally different actress.
Right. I'm here. Get over it.
Right.
Get used to it. Whatever Rhodey said when he walked in.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm good with it.
Oh,
and you know
absolutely.
what? No one's going to care.
No one's going to care.
Like, it's not like you're going to get a worse. So, hopefully, there will be no Mira. And then, is Flashpoint pushed back as well?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Because you can't look. Whether he's mentally or whether they're mentally stable or not, you can't be running around Hawaii smacking people.
Well, here's the problem. So it's been pushed back because they readjusted the movies to make sense.
Well, is it still going to be very Supergirl, Batgirl centric?
I don't think so. I don't believe that to be the case.
Okay.
But they did rearrange it because things like Shazam and Aquaman, there's elements that lead into the Flash.
Right.
So having the Flash before it made no sense. So they rearranged the movies so that they would make more sense in the timeline.
Oh, canonically.
Yeah, exactly. But that being said, I also have been hearing that this movie they absolutely love. They think it may be one of the best movies that DC has put out.
I'm all about it.
So,
I mean, unless it erases everything.
Well, but I think that my point is that Ezra Miller is not going anywhere for this movie.
Okay.
They will be in it. They will maybe not be in any future movies. And
I mean, but if they nail it, then you have to grab them and say, get your shit together, or we're going to get your shit together for you.
Right. And that's the hope. I mean, the hope is that Ezra Miller will get.
Oh, I like them as Barry Allen.
Yeah.
I don't want them to, listen, this is not me saying like, oh yeah, I want to watch Ezra Miller burn in flames. No, of course not.
No.
Somebody get them some help.
I'm saying if you watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, then you realize that all the casting choices were made very well.
Oh, Cyborg was so good.
Like
So good.
Joss Whedon's Justice League was such
Yeah, but his
an
career,
abomination.
Joss's career is over.
Oh, it's dead. But I'm just saying it's when you look at it, you don't get much for majority of those characters. And then when you watch Snyder's, it's like, oh yeah, those casting choices were so solid. These actors are doing a tremendous job in these roles. It's not the actors or the characters. It was the piece of shit director that totally ruined all of that.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about, a couple of our universes right now. We'll see what happens. I mean, it could all just burn up in flames.
It could. It could.
But I'm hoping it's not going to. It seems like we are trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I think you've got somebody that's in place now that's going to make other people care. Because,
Well, that's, at the end of the day, it's about toys and money, right?
right.
But honestly, there should be art should have some bearing. Maybe not a huge voice, but it should have some voice.
Yes.
All right. So I think we'll put this one to bed. Jim, as always, love having you on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for talking. Give us a little, tell us what you're doing.
Just finishing up on my creator-owned horror comic. I'm trying to get that out for July so that's going to be available for everybody to read. So working hard on getting that completed.
Awesome. And we do have some limited art prints on the website, catalystcrafting.com, or you can go to etsy.com and search Catalyst Creations New Hampshire. All right, guys. That's another episode of Catalyst Corner in the books. Take care of yourselves. We couldn't do this without you. And that's it. All right, crew. I'll catch you on the next one.